So I woke up this morning and thought that it's very important that I do this video. And this video is directed to Mazi Nnamdi Kanu. I'm putting on back of my t-shirt this morning to say to you that Nigeria is still upside down, worse than you ever predicted. Dear Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, a man who once believed in the unity and peaceful coexistence of Nigerians. A man who once joined hundreds and thousands of Nigerians far away United Kingdom to protest and ask the Nigerian government to be responsible and responsive to her citizens.
My name is Nnamdi Kanu. The reason why we're here today is to protest the killing of innocent women and children and men, for that matter, all over Nigeria, especially in the northern part of Nigeria. We are not happy. We are not pleased with what is happening, and that is why we are here today. As you can see, there are a lot of Nigerians who are protesting about the killing of families, people who are determined to tear the country apart violently, and it is not something that we support. It is not something that we would like to see continue, and we are here today to send a clear message to the Nigerian government through the High Commissioner that what is happening in the country is unacceptable and we cannot accept it. If that continues, it will lead to the violent situation of the country. There will be no more Nigeria for anyone to go to. There will be no Nigeria for anyone to refer to. In fact, what is happening in Somalia today will be like a tea party. So we cannot allow this nonsense to continue. Something has to be done. And the consequences of the actions of terrorism in Nigeria must be driven home to the people, so that even the terrorists themselves will be able to understand that there is no mileage in where they're going. The only thing they can accomplish is the breakup of Nigeria. If they think that they can cower people, if they think they can force people to be coerced into a religion which is not theirs, then they are clearly mistaken. We are asking for peace. We are asking for people to get together. We are asking for everybody who loves Nigeria, who is associated with that country, to please prevail upon terrorism in Nigeria so we can bring it to an end. That is why a multitude of Nigerians are gathered here today. Those of us in the UK are determined to work with the government for peace. We are determined to work with the International Community for peace. But one thing we cannot stomach is a repeat of 1966. What is happening today in Nigeria was the reason why Nigeria fought a bitter civil war for 3 years between 1967 and 1970. If this continues, there will be another civil war in Nigeria. And this time around, no place will be safe in Nigeria. This time around, nobody will be safe in Nigeria. So it is imperative that everybody who has the interest of the country at heart acts now and immediately to stop this nonsense from continuing.
A man who once held the Nigerian passport with pride and celebrated it across the world as he traveled. But today, Nigeria failed him, just the same way Nigeria is failing me and you today. And that led to the agitation for self-actualization of the indigenous people of Biafra. Nigeria failed him because we must trace the roots. Because Nnamdi Kanu once believed in Nigeria. So what happened? That is the question we should be asking. It is not a crime anywhere in the world to agitate and ask for self-actualization. No, it's not a crime. But Nigeria failed him, and that is what led to him fighting for the self-actualization of his people. But today, he's being kept behind bars. Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, let me say to you that the things you spoke about today is being cleared before the eyes of Nigerians, and seeing the insecurity getting even more closer than you ever predicted. Today, it's clear. Dear Nnamdi Kanu, we can now say you are a prophet. You saw it coming. And today, lives within us. Dear Nnamdi Kanu, let me announce to you that Gumi in the north, who had continuously celebrated Boko Haram bandits and terrorists, and had forced Nigerian government to negotiate and sort out these people, is being celebrated, walking around the soil of Nigeria and across the world that he deemed fit to go to. Not even one political elite in the north has condemned Gumi or spoke against him. Not one. He's free, he's a free man. Sunday, though, from the West, who also fought at some point for his people today, they don't settle him. He wear APC cap and he's free walking across the streets of Nigeria today, and he's being celebrated. Not one political elite spoke against Sunday Igboho at the time. But today, the political elites in the East are continuously, a lot of them, 95% of them, continuously condemn your fight for the self-actualization of the indigenous people of Biafra.
Confident that should Nnamdi Kanu be released, security in the southeast will be positively affected.
Well, let me say this. Nnamdi Kanu is before a court of competent jurisdiction, and it would be very, very unfair for me to be talking about the release of Nnamdi Kanu, which is before Justice Omotocha, discussing anything about that honorable court. And I urge Nigerians to learn how to respect the courts, and I want to leave that about respecting the court for now.
But one thing I know is that you've always stood for that which you believe in. You have decided to trade your freedom so that the Igbo race can be free. And today you are behind bars, far away Sokoto. Millions of people still celebrate you across the world. But let me announce to you, dear Nnamdi Kanu, that we will not pray for you, because whatever you are passing through today is not a spiritual problem. It's a failure of a system that has continued to oppress you. And I know deep down in me that you still believe deep down in you in Nigeria, if Nigeria can be great. And I announce to you that we'll continuously use our voice to fight and agitate for a greater nation that you will be free and you will come into and celebrate once again. You will celebrate Nigeria, I believe, because Nigeria will be great. And that country that you once believed in, you will see it and you will celebrate it. For me today, my opinion, you are being oppressed. And the oppression will be over someday. And you will come to celebrate that Nigeria that you once believed in. Dear Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, be strong wherever you are. Nigerians know your value. They can be politically blinded. They can be religiously blinded. They can be blinded to ethnicity and tribe. But they know the truth. And that truth will set you free. Dear Nnamdi Kanu, our strength is with you. Our voice will not stop talking, because the same country that failed you still they fail us today. The same country when you once believed in, we still believe in the country today, and we will see a Nigeria that works. Peace and love.
A powerful message to Mazi Nnamdi Kanu. Nigeria still struggles with the questions you raised. A media personality known as Gana recently made a striking statement directed to Nnamdi Kanu. In his words, "Dear Mazi Kanu, Nigeria is still upside down, worse than you ever predicted. You once held the Nigerian flag with pride, but Nigeria failed you, just as it is failing many citizens today. You chose to agitate for the freedom of your people, yet you are locked up by the Nigerian government. Meanwhile, Sheikh Gumi walks free. Sunday Igboho has been settled and is now wearing an APC cap." Whether one agrees with this statement or not, it reflects a growing political conversation among Nigerians about justice, leadership, and the treatment of political agitators. To understand why such statements resonate with many people, we must go back to the early years of Nnamdi Kanu. Before becoming widely known for his agitation for Biafra, Kanu was once among those who believed in the Nigerian project. He carried the Nigerian flag in demonstrations abroad and spoke about reforming the country. Over time, however, his views changed dramatically as he began to argue that Nigeria's political structure was deeply flawed. His activism eventually led to the creation of the Indigenous People of Biafra, a movement advocating for self-determination in the southeastern region of Nigeria. The Nigerian government considers IPOB a proscribed organization and has taken legal actions against its leadership. In 2021, Nnamdi Kanu was kidnapped in Kenya and returned to Nigeria to face charges related to terrorism and other allegations. His detention has since become one of the most debated political and legal issues in the country. Supporters argue that he represents a voice of political frustration in the southeast. Critics argue that his rhetoric and activities contributed to rising tensions. What makes the issue even more controversial for many observers is the comparison with other figures. One of the names frequently mentioned in these debates is Ahmad Gumi, a cleric who has often been involved in dialogue efforts with armed groups in northern Nigeria. His meetings with bandits and public commentary have drawn both support and criticism. Some see him as attempting to mediate conflicts, others question the optics of those engagements. Another figure often referenced in these discussions is Sunday Igboho. Igboho became widely known during campaigns against kidnappings and violence affecting Yoruba communities in southwestern Nigeria. His activities eventually brought him into conflict with authorities, and he later faced legal issues outside Nigeria before continuing his activism abroad. For many Nigerians observing these different cases, the question becomes one of perceived consistency. Why do different agitators or controversial figures appear to face different political outcomes? Are the differences based on legal circumstances, political negotiations, or broader security considerations? These questions are at the heart of the statement made by Gana. To some people, the contrast symbolizes a deeper issue within Nigerian politics: how the state manages dissent, protest movements, and regional grievances. Nigeria is a country with immense diversity, over 200 million citizens, hundreds of ethnic groups, and multiple political traditions. In such a complex environment, debates about justice and fairness often become highly emotional. The continued detention of Nnamdi Kanu has therefore become more than just a legal matter. For many supporters, it represents a symbol of political resistance. For critics of his movement, it represents the enforcement of state authority. Both interpretations coexist within Nigeria's public discourse. At the same time, the country continues to face serious security challenges. Insurgency in the northeast, banditry in the northwest, and communal conflicts in various regions have strained the nation's institutions. In such an atmosphere, every political decision, especially those involving controversial figures, becomes magnified. The statement by Gana therefore reflects a broader sentiment shared by some Nigerians, a feeling that the country is struggling with unresolved political questions. Is Nigeria living up to the expectations of its citizens? Are all regions and voices treated equally within the political system? Can long-standing grievances be addressed through dialogue and reform? These are not new questions. They have appeared repeatedly throughout Nigeria's history. What makes them particularly urgent today is the combination of economic hardship, security concerns, and intense political competition. In times like this, symbolic figures often take on greater meaning. For supporters, Nnamdi Kanu represents resistance against a system they believe is unjust. For critics, he represents a challenge to national unity and stability. The truth is that the debate surrounding him is ultimately part of a much larger conversation about Nigeria's future. That future will depend on how the country handles dissent, regional grievances, and demands for political change. Because history shows that nations are not defined only by their conflicts, but by how they respond to the voices of their people. Stay tuned.